Hey guys, welcome back to the Unit 4 test review. So I'm going to go over these problems. It might have to take a few videos to get everything done. Again, please make sure your packet is filled out. So in order to graph this function, the vertex form for this guy right here, and remember that the vertex is HK. So here the vertex is 4, 9. So I'm going to go ahead and graph that now. Then I'm going to draw an axis of symmetry. Remember, that's just the middle line. It's an invisible line that separates the left of the right, and it'll be symmetric when we draw our parabola. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead. I need a table of values. You must show your table of values on the test. To choose your x values, remember you look here. After 4 comes, you can go with 3, 2, 1 or 5, 6, 7, the three numbers after 4. Then after that, you got to do 1 by 1 to figure out what the y is. So the 5 goes in for the x in the formula. I'm using order of operations here. So that's 7. Do the same work with 6. To get 1. And then the 7 in for the x. And that'll be -9. So I'm going to go ahead and plot those points. 5, 7. Five, 7. We had 6, 1. And the last one was 7, -9. And then we have to get points on the other side of the axis of symmetry. So 1, 2 over, and 3 over. And then finally, please make sure to draw your parabola. Number 2 is in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. Remember, we need to find the vertex, we need to find the x value first, and we use the formula -b over 2 times a. So the b is 6, so it's -6 over 2 times the a is 3. Multiply on the bottom and divide. There's your x coordinate. So now we need to take that -1 and plug it into the formula for the x's here and here to figure out what the y coordinate is for the vertex. Order of operations, do your exponent. Then you can multiply left to right. And then get -7. So your vertex here, let me write it up here, -1, -7. So I'm going to go ahead and plot that point now. Then I'm going to draw my axis of symmetry. That was a terrible straight line. Okay, so there's the axis of symmetry. Now I need a table of values. Got to make some room here, so I'll erase at work. So the table of values should be, it's taking me forever. All right, so the first, the look back at the vertex, you have your -1. So after -1 would come 0, 1, 2. And then we're going to have to plug into the formula again for those highlighted x's. So plugging in the zeros, that would be 3 times 0 is 0, plus 0 minus 4 is -4. And then plugging in the 1, that would be 3 times 1 times 1 is 1 squared is 1, so that's 3, plus 6 minus 4, so it'll be 9 minus 4 is 5. And then the 2, exponent, so 3 times 4, then multiply left to right, that'll be 20. That's going to be way off the graph, goes way past 10, so we're not going to worry about that. Clean that up a bit. Let's go plot my points. 0, -4. Nope, not there. 0, -4. And then 1, 5. And then plot points on the other side of the axis of symmetry. And, yep, that is an equal sign, so it's not an inequality, so no shading here. Always double check to make sure it's an equal sign. If it's a less than or greater, then it would be some shading. All right, number 2 is done. Moving on. Identify the vertex, axis of symmetry, which is AOS. The minimum or maximum, that has to do with if the vertex is minimum or maximum, then the domain and the range of each function. So letter or number 3 is in vertex form. So the vertex HK, remember H is opposite, so that would be -2, -5. The AOS is always X equals a number, and the number is the H. You better put down the X equals on the test or I take off a point. Remember, axis of symmetry is technically an equation. To tell somebody that it's a vertical line. The equation, X equals, tells them it's a vertical line. Minimum or maximum, that has to do if it opens up or down. Now, if you look at the A right here, that's a negative, so that means this parabola would open down, meaning the vertex would be at the top, so we would call this maximum. The vertex is the maximum point. Maximum has to do with up or down with the y-axis. Domain has to do with left or right. Every single, if you recall from earlier in the notes, and hopefully you've been studying them, the domain for a parabola, all the parabolas we've been doing, is -infinity to infinity. Has to do with left or right. And the range has to do with the vertex. Now the range is how far down it goes. So it's going down forever. So that would be -infinity. And then it would go up. You just name whatever the y coordinate is, or also known as the k here, which is -5. So if we were to graph that, it would go from -infinity to -5, according to the y-axis. Okay, more practice here. Number 4, the vertex h is opposite, so that's -1/2. The k is -1. The axis of symmetry has to do with the h again. X equals the h. Minimum or maximum, look at the A. It's a positive. That means the parabola opens up, so that means the vertex is at the bottom at the minimum most point. The domain, as I said for the previous problem, always negative infinity to infinity. And the range is how low it goes. It goes as low as the k, which is -1, and it goes up forever to infinity. Number 5 is in standard form. So to find the vertex, we got to start off with x equals -b over 2 times a. So the negative b is -8 over 2 times the a is -2. So it'll be -8 divided by -4 is 2. And then we got to plug it into the formula. The 2 goes into the formula for the x's here and here. And we're going to use order of operations, squared. Now we're going to multiply left to right. Two, 6. So the vertex is 2, 6. Next up is the AOS. So x equals the x coordinate of the vertex, which is 2 on the line above. The minimum, look back here at the A. The A is a negative. So that means this guy would open down. So the vertex would be at the top at the max. The domain is the left to right, negative infinity to infinity. Notice numbers 3, 4, 5 are all the same for the domain. And then the range, it's going down forever, so that's negative infinity, and it goes up to what the coordinate, y coordinate is in the vertex, which is 6. Okay, next up, write the equation of a parabola, in vertex form that has a vertex 1, 2 and a point 2, 5. So if we want to write it in vertex form, let me write down the form I want it in. Now it's telling me I have vertex 1, 2, so that's HK. So if I go into my answer, I don't know what A is, but I do know that H is 1, so -1, and then squared, and then the K is 2. So that's some easy points right there. The challenge in this problem is finding out what that A is, and that's where we got to do some math. So that's where this other point comes in. This point, 2, -5, it will not go into my final answer. It is only useful to help us find out what A is. So in order to do that, we're going to label this XY. We're going to use our formula right here, and we're going to plug in those 4 numbers into the formula for y, x, h, and k. So I'm looking at the formula. Y is the -5 equals a. We don't know. That's what we're solving for. And then parentheses, x is 2 minus h, 1. Close parentheses squared, and then plus k would be plus 2. And now we have an equation that we can now solve for a. We're going to subtract in the parentheses. And then that'll be a times 1 squared is 1, so we'll call it 1a, which we can drop the 1. and then add 2 to both sides. So the A is 7. So we take that 7 and it goes into our final answer. So right here is your answer. It is an equation in vertex form. Okay, number 7 says identify the vertex, and the main goal of this says then write each function in vertex form. So this guy is in standard form, so we got to do the x equals negative b over 2 times a. The a is negative 1 and the b is negative 2. So on the numerator, negative b would be double negatives, positive 2, divided by 2 times negative 1. And that will simplify to get the x coordinate of the vertex is negative 1. Now we're going to plug that in for the equation for the x's and find out what the y coordinate of the vertex is. Exponent first, so carry down the negative, and negative 1 squared is 1. Then multiply to get plus 2, and the y is 1. So where do we go from there? Remember, so we know now that the vertex is negative 1, 1. So that met the first sentence, identify the vertex. Now we need to write each function in vertex form. So again, it's this guy right here. That's our goal in vertex form. So y equals the a in vertex form is the same a in standard form, an invisible negative 1. And then parentheses x minus h. What is the h? Well, the h and the k have to do with the vertex. So getting that vertex helps us get our equation in vertex form. So h is opposite, so that should be plus 1, close parentheses squared, then plus k. Number 8, same exact procedure. We got to start off with finding the vertex, the formula negative b divided by 2 times a. The b is negative 12, so double negatives, 12. 2 times a, multiply on the bottom and divide. Now we need the y coordinate, so take the 3. We're going to plug it in for the x's in the formula. And we're going to use order of operations. So that'll be 3 squared is 9. Multiply left to right. Subtract. And add. So our vertex is 3, negative 15. So now we can start writing our equation in vertex form. Y equals, the a is the a back here, recycle it, and then in parentheses x minus h. Remember the vertex hk, like I mentioned on the previous problem. And then don't forget your squared. And then plus k would be minus 15. I'm gonna that's been about the 20-minute mark, so I'm gonna just pause this, or I'm gonna stop this video, and then for numbers 9 on, I'll resume with a part 2.